everybody. This is Pastor David. Happy Wednesday. I hope it's a great Wednesday for you, and I'm glad to get to visit with you. I just don't even know what to say as far as updating you on Sunday. Sunday was Easter Sunday. And you know how you hear a lot about, oh, Easter, everybody comes to church on Easter. All your numbers will be up, and people will come to church once a year. They'll come on Easter. And, you know, in my mind, I feel like, well, that's kind of overrated, overstated maybe, but maybe it's kind of true. I expected a good attendance Sunday, but it is spring break this week, and I know a lot of our people are out of town, and I thought, well, you know, there's a lot going on, but we had a record attendance, and I don't focus a great deal about attendance, about numbers, but we had over 1,200 people here on campus at church on Sunday for our two services, our kid men. We had overflow, and that obviously was a shocker for me. Our worship was incredible. The songs and the worship and the prayer and the challenge from the Word about Easter. It was a phenomenal Sunday, an incredible weekend. And I was going to show you this. We got this recently. This is a little plaque. Cabarrus County does this thing. It's the best of Cabarrus County. And I don't know exactly how it all works. I think people vote about restaurants and businesses and all kind of things. And so we actually, our church was voted as the best place of worship in Cabarrus County last year. And so we have this little plaque commemorating that. It says the best of Greater Cabarrus, the Community Church of Mount Pleasant, the best place of worship. So I just wanted to, share that. I'm really humbled by that. I don't know who votes. I don't know how it happens, but evidently some folks thought enough of our church to vote, and we're thankful. We just try to do what we do. You know, we try to maybe fly under the radar a little bit. I don't think we need a lot of fanfare. We just try to really love people and teach the Bible here, and so God's doing a good work here. I hope that you can come and see us sometime. There's people are amazed at how much is going on during the week here on this campus. Just some things coming up. Next week, next Monday is Sway. This is our women's ministry. Some women are Glow and Yielding. This is Monday night. They have a dinner and spend time together, have a little program. Next Wednesday is a fun day. We have hot dogs next Wednesday. We also have an open house for our parish nurse in her office here, Debbie Thomas. And she has a wonderful ministry here. So when you're here for hot dogs, you can join us for the open house with our parish nurse. And then next Saturday, this will be the 22nd of April, we're having a party. You say, well, you have a lot of parties. We do have a lot of parties. We have parties every Sunday. But the 22nd is Saturday, and that is when we actually celebrate our 8th birthday. It's hard to believe that we are 8 years old. It's just, I'm amazed at how God has done so much in such a short amount of time. Growth in so many areas. We've been at 4 different campuses, and seems like God always has something new for us, something planned. And so I want you to come the 22nd down on the football field and out in our parking lot. We'll have barbecue and entertainment, games for the kids, music, all that. It's going to be an exciting day. But we're going to 2 o'clock on the 22nd, and we will say happy birthday to the Community Church at Mount Pleasant. And then just some other things, but I wanted to mention those things to you before I do a short devotional today. Easter. I try to read a lot and have research a lot about Easter, you know, and the validity of the fact that Jesus not only lived on the earth, but he also died. He was taken, arrested, abused, and crucified on a cross, and he was taken down and put in a tomb. Someone claimed his body and prepared a place for him, and he had prophesied in advance. He tried to tell people, his followers said, now look, they're going to come get me, they're going to crucify me, it's going to be sad, they're going to put me in a tomb, but I'm going to rise again, I'm going to come back to life. I'm not sure how much they thought about that before the fact. And then there are people today who think that, well, didn't really happen, or it was figurative or symbolic. And I wanted to talk to you. By the way, this Sunday I'm going to talk about He is risen, now what? Do you realize that Jesus walked on this earth for 40 days and interacted with people after He came back to life? I'm going to talk about that Sunday. I really want you to come Sunday because you don't hear a lot about that. But anyway, how do we know? How do we know that all this is true? 2 Peter chapter 1, verse 16. For we have not followed cunningly devised fables. I love this. Paul is writing. Peter is writing. And Peter says, listen folks, this isn't a fable. This is not a fairy tale. We're not following tricky stories and fables. We have not followed cunningly devised fables. This is not a fairy tale. This story of Jesus and His life and His death and His burial, this really happened. When we made known unto you the power and coming of our Lord Jesus Christ, Peter says, we were, and this is what I want you to see, we were eyewitnesses. Do you know the Bible said that? Peter said, listen folks, we didn't read this in the paper. We didn't see it on TV. We saw Jesus. We saw Jesus. We're eyewitnesses. This is not a fable. This is not a rumor. We were eyewitnesses of His majesty. The fact that He lives after He died and was put in the tomb. Peter says, we were eyewitnesses. And so, if you're one of those who need maybe a little extra validity, maybe a little bit extra affirmation, and I appreciate that. I don't have a problem with that. Thomas was one that followed Jesus, and there was an instance after Jesus was risen from the dead, and He met with the disciples, and Thomas was there, and Thomas said, how do we know that's you? And Jesus held out His hands and said, feel the scars. And Thomas said, I see that. So Peter said, this is not a fable. This is not a rumor. We were eyewitnesses. For He received from God, the Father of honor and glory, when there came such a voice of Him from an excellent glory. Look, we not only saw Jesus, we heard God speak and say, we saw Jesus and we heard God. Now, verse 19, I'll close with this. We also have a more sure word of prophecy. Do you know what that more sure word of prophecy is? They saw Jesus after He rose from the dead. They were eyewitnesses and they heard God speak and say, this is my beloved Son. We have a more sure word. You can listen to the news. You can read a book. You can listen to the most credible people you know. But God God spoke and said, this is my Son. I validate His life and death and burial and resurrection. So, I want you to know, my friends, this is not a fable. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a game. Jesus is real. He lived. People saw Him and recorded it and passed it down, not only through the Bible, but through eyewitnesses throughout history. And then ultimately, God spoke and said, this is my Son. And people were there to hear Him. So I just want you to know, if anyone ever questions our belief, it's not a rumor, my friends. This is eyewitnesses who saw the death, the burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. I hope you'll be with us this Sunday. If you can't be here, you watch us, you stream us on live, and we're excited about all the things God's doing here. We love you, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon.